My hair grows long and longer as the lockdown of planet Earth continues what seemingly forever. Welcome to another episode of What's Your Poison? Why does it say my name and not the banner? There's the banner. And why is the color not the way that I like it? I want a deeper red. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, I'm happy again. Today on What's Your Poison, we are speaking to Tresor or Tresor. And he is a very lovely human being who I've known for quite some time. A spectacular thinker, like a real shining. When that guy you'll see when you talk, when you walks into a virtual room, he will light the place up. It's something quite interesting. Just for context on planet Earth, because these podcasts come out a little bit later than reality. Um, there's been a national alcohol lockdown yet again, and so I'm not able to deliver any whiskeys. So basically, I've got one of my whiskeys that was from a few. Who did I drink that with? Now was it Arno? It was my Arno Carstens whiskey from Whiskey Brother, and I have no idea what Tresor is going to be drinking. And I said to him, "Can be anything: coffee, tequila, brandy, whatever you want." So yeah, so today on What's Your Poison, the man Tresor, I just checked his latest Spotify chart says that Aphrodite has 5 million streams. Um, this guy has a crazy life journey, and I've done quite a few interesting projects with him. And just, you know what? I hope he's relaxed because he's such a consummate professional that when I spend time with him, I get some fucking crazy cool stories out of him. But I also know he's so like clever, smart, business orientated that when you turn the mics on, he's sharp as a whip. So I'm hoping that we have a couple of little droopy drop shots, and we get some of the real stuff out of there. That'll be really cool. Um, yeah, that's it. So we are going to go live any minute now. This is my rambling preamble. I would hate to be you to have to watch this, but I'm not you. I'm me, so I don't have to. I'm going to just pour myself one of these while I'm waiting. So this is the Templeton Rye 6. Can you see that? The good stuff. And there was a story that I told about the good stuff, but now I've forgotten what it is. Too far. Okay, let's get this party started. I hate actually saying that. I hate saying things that you're supposed to say at that time. Get this party started. Or don't touch that dial. Ugh, that's my worst thing. Or stay tuned. Shoot me. um, Killing Time. That's the name of my next band. Killing time waiting for a superstar to join us. Man, mm, well, it's good. I loved my. If you haven't listened to it, a previous podcast it must have been the week before this, with Kurt Darren. That was hilarious. If you haven't heard that, and not it wasn't hilarious in a ha ha kind of way. Kurt Darren is so into singing. He loves singing so much that through the whole podcast, he was just singing to me at every opportunity, like singing his heart out. Um, so um, Well, that's me getting distracted because I've got work messages. I have a life too. This is my bit of fun, right? So people are sending me messages about work. Um, this is going to come out what 22nd, 20. This podcast will come out the following week. I don't know when it is, but if you haven't checked it out, there's a new TV series that I've made called Amped Studios Live. It's on MTV Base. Premieres on the 29th. That might be right around the time this podcast comes out. And it's every Wednesday, MTV Base, 9:30. And you got to check it out. Trazor's actually in one of the episodes, and a hell of an episode it is. He does this collaborative performance with Vusi Maklasela that they do a tribute to Johnny Clegg because we filmed that section at the time, right around the time that Johnny Clegg passed away. And I'm totally talking shit. That was Jay something and Vusi Maklasela. Trezor did a collaboration with Sepotola that was also magnificent. Uh, Truly spectacle. One of the interesting things I find about Trezor and his music is that um, because he came from the Congo and he. Oh, don't need to do that anymore. The man has just arrived. Let's see what happens now. Hello,
Hi, John.
there's my man.
How you doing? Let
I'm
me.
doing good. How you
How
doing?
you doing? I'm good, man. Can't complain. I'm in studio, I'm at home, you know.
Welcome to What's Your Poison? It is good to see you. Where are you now? In your studio?
Thank you. I'm in my home studio slash office. Been here, held here for the last few months, but yeah, I'm good.
What were you
Is it?
doing 7 minutes ago?
I'm writing a song for this European DJ. Yeah, I've been writing since yesterday, so it's kicking my ass a bit, but it's good.
Kicking mice. I like that. What will you be doing 7 minutes after I finish talking to you?
I'll keep writing until about 4, 5 in the morning.
Nice. Oh yeah, is that 4 or 5 in the morning? That's a long night. So what's your normal day? What time do you wake up? five
Normally,
thirty.
like, nah, no. Depending if I have like if have a training to do, I just wake up like at 8 or 8:30 for some exercising to try and keep fit. But other than that, normally if I sleep late, like 4, 5, I woke up like at 10 and just start my day. I mean, it's not really a long trip, just shower and then walk into the office, you know. Yeah.
Nice. No, I know it. I'm the same. This is my dungeon. I live in this room.
Yes.
Um, what is your poison? What are you drinking tonight? That was your only stipulation. You have to drink something. It can be anything. It can be water. It can be Coke. It can be brand. It
Could
can
be
be anything. What you
water.
got?
No, I'm drinking some gin and tonic as always.
Ah, very nice. I'm
Yeah.
drinking myself some whiskey over here. Just letting you know. Cheers, and lovely to have you on.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah, man. Hmm. Are you a big are you a big gin and tonic guy? Or what is your drink
Uh,
of?
Avid, big,
Oh,
like it's
nice.
yeah, I love. I don't know. It just happened in the last, I think, in the last 3, 4 years actually.
Yeah.
I've always, I had my first like sip of alcohol when I was just, I think 19 or 20. Um, but
Were you here already at that time?
yeah,
Yeah. Carry on. You were saying.
um, and I've had a very, I think, I've always loved the taste of gin or certain kind of liquor, but I've never really been attached to any particular drink. And I think gin is yeah, it's kind of my drink of choice now and then when I feel like winding down or having a good time. Yeah.
Good. Very very nice. We've known each other a while, man. You're one of my favorite human beings. You're such a special thinker. I love that. You we when we have conversations, I feel like the world's gonna catch on fire. And I know you've spoken about this many times, particularly with me, but I do think just for this is not an interview. I'm just letting you know that this is not the way that this podcast works. It's just a total conversation. You can throw things around. We go everywhere. There's no agenda. But you're kind of, and you don't have to tell the whole story of coming to South Africa and all that stuff. But you had a very a hardcore introduction to anything, to coming to South Africa and getting your career started. And now you just like a little tight roping media mogul, like
Yeah.
business empire man. I love watching you
Yeah.
work for that reason to see where you've come.
Yeah, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. And yes, I appreciate your mind. I think yeah, um besides being a great friend, you also I enjoy being around people that think ahead of time and out of the box. It's always amazing to see and watch ideas come to life. And And I love the challenges, man. I love the life challenges, and over time, I've gotten to appreciate like every single curveball that life has thrown at me, because I believe it's always a great opportunity to do something amazing, you know. So, um, and I feel so youthful, man. I feel so right at the beginning of my path, you know, like running for a lot of ideas. This time it's very different though, because there is a much better structure and more knowledge and um, means to be able to like move with my vision and dreams, you know. But
I can
other
see
than
that.
that, it's been a blessed journey filled with a lot of challenges and uh, you know, a lot of ups and downs, and but it's been a blessed journey, man. It's been
You know,
amazing.
you the one unique thing about you is it's such a weird quality. I don't have it. Like I admire this about you. You're taking your time. Like you to some people, you've had an entire career already. To a lot of artists, you've had your you've already done your career. But I've been watching you just putting the building blocks together. That's all. Everything you do is just a building block, and like what you just said, you haven't even got hit your stride yet. You just take your time. And even when I first met you, we didn't know each other. You were like, "Listen, listen, listen. Can I just don't show anyone this? I just want to show you something. I just need some help with something." You showed me like your 10-year plan. This is what I'm gonna do over the
Yeah,
next 10 years. You know, then I'm gonna build this empire, then this empire, and then you just sit. I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? What's he?" But I
yeah.
watch you. You are bringing all that shit into reality in real time in a way that is really cool to just be near you to see happen.
Thank you. I
Don't
appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I think it, you know, this love is it's a beautiful thing, and you know, over time, when you've managed to overcome a lot of things, you get to appreciate the time and the beauty in pushing yourself beyond even your own imagination, you know.
Hmm.
And I think that's a journey where I'm at. I'm always keen and am to stretch myself beyond my own understanding, and whether through thinking or work or um, invention of other things, and I'm very excited, man. I'm very excited. I think first, we are very blessed to be part of this continent, which is really being at the center of this incredible explosion culturally.
Finally.
Yes, finally,
Yeah.
and I believe it's you know it's they are so. I'll think about today like there's so much to be done. There's so much room for growth, but also there's so many avenues to do such incredible and great things. And in this current time, we've been blessed with the most amazing I think this time that we're in is really incredible. Of course, we have the challenge of the current pandemic. I'm talking general, the time before, after the pandemic, or we're gonna learn to live with it. But we've been blessed with such an amazing time, you know. We things are much accessible to us, but at the same time there is an open field for us on the continent, and I'm blessed to be from this generation and also just the continent. And I feel like there is so much to be explored and be done. And that's why I feel like, man, I'm still right at the start of everything, you know. And though I've shared a little bit of my music with the people, I feel like
You're
I'm
just
about
getting
to start.
started.
Yeah, in the next probably 12 months, I feel like I'm about to start. It's been great to do a bunch of set of demos and win awards for them, you know. So,
Yeah,
so
I mean, I just looked now. Your Aphrodite's on 5 million streams on Spotify. I mean, that is fucking crazy.
yeah, it's cool.
Super cool. I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
you a really weird question, and again, this is not planned. It's just been on my mind,
All
and that
right.
is like over the many projects I've done with you, or the handful, let's say. I've often heard your story about escaping the Congo under very hectic conditions and basically spending 3 months getting to South Africa on foot and not being able to speak English and all of that stuff. But in the last thing we did for Amp Studios, you threw in this thing that I have not forgotten and have been meaning to bring up with you, which is when you said you swam across a river of crocodiles. And that I've literally haven't been able to get out of that mind. You did that like 6 months ago. It is in my head all the time.
You know, a lot of things happen, I think, in your journey you don't plan for. And when you look back at them, you're like, that was crazy, you know. And I think that was one of the moments. You know, I was desperate, I was lost. I'm on the border of Tanzania and Malawi and uh, trying to find my way. And the only way you could ever go was either to go legally through the border via a bridge, or find a way to cross the river with a few local guys from the village. And um, that's how it happened. It was very dramatic, man. Like, I remember crossing and the water kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. I thought it's gonna be like, like right up to my knees or ankle.
Could you
Kept getting
swim?
deeper, and funny enough, not really.
Okay.
But luckily, I'm pretty. So the guys, I think the areas know where the river has some rocks where it's not really deep. But by the time I got on the other side, the water was literally like up to
Scary.
my neck. So
Was it day or
and
nighttime?
nighttime, possibly around 1 a.m.
Because you were sneaking
Yeah,
across.
at that time we've been working for like hours with this guy that like picked me from the border because I've been at the border for 2 days and I lost my passport and I've been robbed, and I was either gonna go back home, and I was like, hell no, I ain't going back. I'd rather die going forward than dying going back. So um yeah, and eventually, like, it was so dramatic. So basically what happened is, first it was like the river is gonna be ankle deep or knee deep, and as we were crossing, um I kept complaining him like, yeah, man, you told me it's not gonna be deep, blah blah blah, because I was like, I'm so irritated. um
Irritated or
then
terrified?
I was just, first I didn't know there were crocodiles. I was not aware. It's not like I jump in there, like, I was not aware. I only was told in the middle of the river, like, please understand that this is a very, very uh, this is a river with a lot of crocodiles in it, and you can't be making noise at this time. But now, the river it's probably like the length of it is about 30, 40 meters. Now I've literally gone. I'm like 15 to 20 meters in. So please don't walk,
My
making water, make
heart.
loud noises and stuff. And when he said that, I think I even dropped my clothes. I had certain things on my head. I just panicked. That's when I panicked when he said the crocodiles in, and eventually, of course, arrived on the other side, and it was so horrible, man. That single experience was really horrible. But I look at it now, I laugh about it, and it's laugh. It's been a part of the incredible, I think, journey that has brought me to this place, and um, I wouldn't do it another way.
Do you still have contact with friends and family back home?
Yeah, oh, it's like, uh, for I think a few months when I moved to South Africa, a lot of people are not aware of what exactly I was trying to do, because you remember when I came to South Africa in the early months, I was trying to make a living, so I did a lot of small odd jobs around Durban, and also that time the technology that's like 10 years ago now. Can you believe? It's fucking crazy. It's mad.
I mean,
Yeah. Um, and I didn't really have much contact with people back home then, but now with technology and everything is really much easier. So I speak to my family pretty much every day, which I'm very grateful for. I have a lot of friends living different parts of the world that I speak to pretty much um, daily or weekly. And yeah,
you're also doing quite a lot of, I mean, work around Africa that you've been doing in the last couple of years. What was that dance competition that you were doing? A refugee dance competition? The one time I met you at the airport, you had just come back from doing some amazing thing.
yeah,
You're
yeah. I
always
was
doing
doing that.
amazing things. I'm just trying to piece it
Yeah,
together.
Yeah, I was so I work with the UN. So when I came to South Africa, I came as a refugee. So I went to Durban, and of course I got refugee papers. That's 10 years ago. So now I'm a permanent resident. But that how my
What's it
journey
like being a
started.
refugee in South Africa?
Being a refugee dot around the world is a very horrible experience, and I wouldn't
Mm.
wish it for anybody. A lot of time, um, there's still also stigma around it. There's that's a whole point where I'm getting to. So I work with the UNHCR, which is a United Nations Refugee Agency, as an ambassador. Part of the voice is to change the narrative of how people should be looking at refugees, because the whole idea is to be like, hey, this is Tresor, this war is done, this is Journey. He's a refugee, but actually he empowers a lot of local people via his work, whether through his band or projects, and they get to earn income. He gets to empower people in different mediums, but he started as a refugee, so they don't. The world doesn't see a refugee just as a taker, but rather, if empower the
Mm.
person that can be able to give back and be able to uplift and empower.
Amazing.
Um,
Mm.
being a refugee is a horrible experience, and I think that story for now there. But there's a lot of bad treatment a lot of refugees receive. Whether here or in Europe, it just it's and around the continent, it's you get your humanity kind of pretty much gets stripped away from you in a certain sense, because you almost look like a person who has no home, or um, no place to call home, or doesn't belong pretty much. And I mean, the way people get treated for documentations or a lot of things, it's just
You
not
mean you mean a lot of people take advantage of you because you don't have a status, so that you're always having
yeah,
to pay that
yeah, you
guy, do a favor for that guy because
sometimes not even
you don't have
paying,
standing.
sometimes not even paying. Sometimes it's just the way you speak to the guys.
Oh, I see.
You sit on the floor, you get pushed around. It's just a really not a good. It's not a great experience, and it's very humbling. It's very spirit breaking. Anybody that has ever got through it will tell you you know, for years and years for me, I went through a lot of like self, like I just trained my mind to take a lot of, you know,
Punishment.
like not just punishment. I think more than anything, it's just some sort of like rejection. And
Is it self-worth?
yeah,
Is
I think more than anything, you gotta build a very thick skin. You gotta grow thick skin to be able to take a lot of the treatment refugees receive, pretty much.
mm.
And it shouldn't be that way, because already I think when a person is a refugee, they're already broken, and you don't want to break them further. And um,
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
like
of
I
times,
kind of think of it that your house is on fire, your whole house burns down. You have to run out of your house with nothing. You go to your neighbor's house and you're a complete stranger to the neighbor and you're
yeah, yes,
punished for having your house burned down.
and I tell people all the time, like, look, um, there's nobody that I know on the planet, if they have a really incredible home or house, and they're comfortable and everything's going well, nobody want to leave home. I
Mm.
think it's the case for a lot of people in developed countries, or where things are better. And when you leave to go live elsewhere, it's a matter of choice and just preference. For a lot of people, it's a matter of whether I stay here and die, or I go elsewhere and have a chance to start over. You know,
Which is
and
not a
when I mean
choice.
dying, yeah, when I mean dying is not. I don't mean just a physical dying. I'm talking about like a lot of my friends I went to school with or grew up with. They probably look like 3, 4 times my age, because life they've been really, beaten by life. And a lot of them is it just I think like you lose your hope at an early age because you don't see things changing. You go to school, you go to university, you do everything right, but then again, the system fails you. So certain courageous ones live and go take a chance. Some succeed, some don't, but it's okay.
Mm.
Um, I think it's that's pretty much I think what refugees are about, and
Mm.
I just hope and wish people get to see refugees as people that don't just take, but people that can be able to uplift if embraced, pretty much.
I mean, you're an example of exactly that, which is incredible. So I still want to know about that dance competition.
Yes. So I did um, a trip with the UNHCR in in Malawi, a place called Zaleka Camp. It's
Mm.
one of the biggest refugee camp on the continent. And we got there and we had some of the most incredible, just the warmth, I was there with Anati, myself, Nomza Mumbata, and was such an incredible experience. And the whole, I think, journey was more than anything to get to see the lives, and also just get to see how incredible some of the spirits of the young people are in the camp, and we got to meet some of the most amazing dances. Funny enough, most of them were from Congo, and it was such an amazing experience.
Wow.
I got to see also young kids singing some of the songs that I've even forgot I wrote a long time ago. It was just
Wow.
very, yeah, it was such an amazing experience in the refugee camp. And yeah, I think we all with the UNHCR, and we all still on the journey to try to uplift the guys, and they've won actually. The guys on their own credit, they've won a lot of competitions there, and we're just, to be honest, there to really support them and also be able to understand the story, and together be able to go and tell the world the story of the kids back in the camp, with, of course, in partnership with the UNHCR, and have won a lot of dance competition in Malawi. Some of them now being relocated to other countries, Canada and the States, to start anew, afresh. So shout out to UNHCR for that. Yeah.
Cool. Really cool. Can you remember you once? I've also you once told me as well that you didn't hear the Beatles or Brenda Fassie or Miriam Makeba till you were like in South Africa and 19 and like starting music.
Yeah, Brenda Fassie, I knew a few songs. I didn't know. So a lot of the stuff I didn't know, like it's like a lot of my music is influenced by some of the great pop artists that ever lived, such
Well, you kind
Beatles
of
and
brought with your stuff, yeah. You've kind of brought that retro sound back, but for you, it's not retro because you found it all late. So that's why it's so authentic and sort of current. You bring this cool flavor to it.
yeah. So like like I discovered like a lot of like iconic African artists like when I was like 2019, like Kafes, I knew Miriam Makeba, of course, I knew Hugh Masekela, but
Oh,
I dived
Kaifus is
into
my
the
man, Brad. That's my boy.
yeah,
Kaifus
he's amazing.
is
Yo, he's
the guy.
incredible. Um, so I discovered a lot of artists, man, like a lot of the alternative guys, and a lot of course South African. I dived deep into South African, like I discovered Chico Twala, can you believe what he, a lot of great producers, and I got to immerse myself into the sound of South African sound, historic like Maskandi and pop and disco sound, and I'm sure you can hear it in a lot of the stuff that I
It's
do.
clear. It's very clear.
Yes, a lot of the stuff I do with Wittenberg as well, you can be able to hear it. Um, so
How do
yeah,
you
I
describe?
think for me,
Sorry, carry on.
no, I think for me, um, I've really enjoyed, tapping in different sonic spheres because I get bored very easily, and I pride myself in, mm, you know, uh, fusing elements from all over the continent. I always make this joke where it's not actually a joke, it's the truth, but there's really two of the greatest musical countries on the continent. I was born in one and I live in one,
Hmm.
and that's that. One is by choice, South Africa, of course. The one is really like Congo, and I get to bring the influences from Congo and South Africa together
Can you
because we have.
describe that that sort of sonic difference in rhythm and style between Congo and South Africa? Is there a way you can express, because it's got a different groove as sort of.
Yes, like, see, Congo, we are the generators of, like, the people that like gave birth to the rhythms of kwasa kwasa, and Congolese rumba, which is very much like, which is like the root of South American rumba and samba and fusion, way, 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 way back, before a lot of what people left, uh, with the set slavery. It's way a lot of the rhythms, a lot of the rhythms took great birth like in the Congo region. So you can hear, like, if you go to Cuba, you go to South America, Colombia, Brazil, you can hear a lot of the element. It just so happened as different worlds, like we all, like the people that left and the people that stayed, all developed different sonic identities,
Hmm.
but the similarities are pretty much still the same, and you can hear, like, Congolese rumba is amazing. It's amazing. It's crazy. Like, I don't perform it, I don't do it, but you can hear a lot of elements in it's like few elements in my music. The same thing with kwasa kwasa, which is like, it's a let me say this. Congo has given birth to a lot of genre of music, like, on the continent, like influencing East Africa, Central Africa, and West Africa. I mean,
Hmm.
some of the Congo musicians were massive in Nigeria. Awilo Longomba, Papa Wemba, Kofi Olomide, and they influenced the Afro beats that you can hear today. I hear it in the
Hmm.
rhythm because I know the drums and the music and the rhythms, like, that you hear a lot. Nigerian artists are doing today, be it Burna Boy, Whiskey. You can hear a lot of Congolese drumming. It just slowed down, like the tempo slower, but you can hear the rhythm. You can hear the hi hats. You can hear the snare. You can hear the kicks, and of course, not to take the credit for some of the Afrobeat sound, but you can hear the influence of the Congolese rhythms. Even coming down here, if you speak to Kafas, he'll tell you. So, funny story, one day I was recording at Universal Studios, and he came through the studio because he heard. Actually, I was actually mixing a song called Aphrodite of Wittenberg. And he's like, he didn't know. I was just sitting in the couch, but he's like, where's the guy singing come from? And I just say, I'm from Congo. He's like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Because
He
he
knew.
understood. Yeah, he understood the certain elements that you can pretty much only find or can learn from, like, the birth of that particular sound. And you can hear it in Cameroon, one of the biggest songs from Cameroon export being Makosa, so Makosa by Manu Dibango, which want to become a massive hit of Michael Jackson. And coming down, of course, South Africa for me is another incredible musical country, like, incredible. Like, I get amazed, man. Like, I'm so, every day I tell myself, like, I get to live my dream every day because I'm surrounded by such great, incredible musical minds. Like, some of them are very old, some of them are very young, different generations, and it's such an incredible musical culture. I mean, I enjoy the Maskandi, uh, sorry, from Durban. I enjoy, I mean, from KZN. I enjoy a lot of, like, the old school disco, Brenda Fassi, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Chico Twala, Kamazu. There's so many of them, incredible. And then also there is, like, Soul
Harari.
Brothers. Yes, Harari with Simple
Harari
Austics.
it
Of
still sounds
course.
like it's fucking yesterday. It's so
The
fresh.
production, the production on Burnout is stupid good, like crazy
Crazy.
good. You know, and the same thing, like this one time I was driving from, actually it was early this year. Can you believe, man? It feels like 10 years ago. Early this year, I was driving from a show in Limpopo. My lady was driving me, and I kept listening to Weekend Special by Brenda Fassie, and I couldn't believe how good that song was. Like, that song amazes me every time. The bass, the drums, the details in the production of it.
I want to tell you that I met the bass player the other day. He came to Amped and he's looking for
That's crazy.
projects. The guy who wrote that bass line and played that is looking for work. I should introduce you to him. You should do something with him.
Please, that song is stupid crazy.
It's bananas. It's
It's
bananas.
insane. Like, there's not, like, I was telling people, like, you see that song, if released today, it will still be that song. Released 34 years later, it will still be that song.
Crazy, eh? I mean,
Man, it's amazing.
um, and what about? Can you tell me a bit about your relationship with Hugh? Because I mean,
Yes,
you and Hugh Masekela had a little bit of a mentorship,
yes. Let me
friendship
show
going
you.
there.
Let me show you something. This is a very specific, very special vinyl. There are very few of them in the world, and I think this is probably one of very, very few that he signed.
That is my record, and he signed it as well. So Hugh Masekela um and Stuart, they did a podcast. They did a radio show on my radio station, The Eye, where they told the story of that Zaya 74. Every song, how it came about, the fights they had with Don King, how Don King fucked them over out of their rights, how they spent 20 years trying to get the rights back. And all I asked out of that entire thing was to get a signed copy of that album. I wish I'd gotten it, and you have it.
Yes,
Yes,
I do
I
have.
am
He
green right
signed
now.
it. He signed it for me, like one of our very, very, like, maybe a few months before passed on, and we were in his lounge and just talking, and he always made jokes because I was in Kenya doing a show, and
Hmm.
I saw this trend um, on Twitter where people were just being worried because he was performing, I think, at a DSTV Awards, and I could see his health was not getting better. So as soon as I landed, I called him. I went to see him the next day, and he told me, man, you don't have to be insecure like that. You think I'm just trying to lose weight to be a model like you? I'm like, I'm just, I'm like,
Oh,
actually, I was just worried. I was just worried. I just wanted to come see you, and we just, made some fruits and then signed vinyl, and we
how did you
spoke
meet
for like
him?
hours. So I was in Durban, you know. I don't, which that year I was in Durban with my friends, and I was having a good time. I was chilling, you know. And then I get a call. Actually, there is a friend of mine that gave him a number. Obenua, who is the head of Harvard Studies, and she used to be the head of Steve Biko Foundation. And I did a few projects with her, taking some kids from Queenstown for the first time to perform in Liverpool at Liverpool International Music Festival. Very sweet lady. Um, and he called me and he's like, "Hi Tresor, how are you? I love your work. It's Brahil here." And I'm like, "Huh?" And I just, it's like, "I'd love to meet you. I need help." And I just go, I'm like, "When, sir? I can anytime." He's like, "No, no, no, no. Take your time. Take your time. Whenever you have time." You know what happened? The next day I was on a flight back.
Yeah, of course.
And it was around December, and I came back, and I met him, and it was actually his album with these projects, I-74. He needed interpretation of some of the words and songs, and eventually, like, and he invited me to be on his projects on a song called Congo Woman, which was really fun to make with him.
Wow.
and we went to the MTV Awards together um, in 2017, 16, end of 2016, because that's when I met him around 2016. And um, and there's this speech he did, I think, of his song called "Don't Go Losing, Baby," and he did this rap thing, and everyone was losing, and I was like, "Sir, I'd love you to do a rap on one of my songs." It's like, "Don't worry, I'll do a really dope rap verse for you. I'm going on a tour on on this day." And he like straight up like, "I'm going on tour on this date. I'll be
Well,
back."
hold on. What made you ask Hugh Masekela to do a rap on your song? Because I can't think of many people who would have asked him that.
He has this song like, "And when I is a loser and a loser again,
Yeah,
again,"
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And he did a "If you lose, no, let me lose, no." It's such a cool, very cool,
Hmm.
you know. And I thought it would be such an incredible moment to just have fun with him, you know. Because that song, the rhythm, everything is really cool. I can't really rap like he does, to be honest. I can't. It's He was so good at it, you know. And he came through and killed it. And that's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. Really, it's
Amazing.
it's just a beautiful moment of history captured two different generations, and it's a beautiful sonic bridge, you know. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. I mean, those are. It's crazy that you reminded me of this, but on the second cassette album, I was such a huge, well, am. I'm a massive Vusi Maklasela fan, and it was always my dream to do something with him. And we had written this kind of Motown rock combo track, and it didn't come out. It came out a lot rockier in the studio than I was intending it to. It had a lot of horns, and it was like got a cool Motown groove. And I asked Vusi Maklasela to come into the studio, and if he wouldn't mind doing a vocal on it. The guy tore like you have never heard, like rocks. You will not believe that it's Vusi Masela tearing up like this rock song like a rock god. And
Oh
those old
wow,
legends who are like true, they can do anything. Like they come,
I know.
they just walk in and they can let it all hang out. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
man.
my one of my greatest moments ever. Is just watching him tear up this rock song. You've never, Vusi had the sweet voice, the voice,
Yeah, no, it's cool.
dude
I
is
love, I love,
fucking.
I love, I love his work, and also I love the fact, I love his journey. What he's
Mm,
done in around the world, and it's yeah, I love that.
mm.
He's such an incredible artist.
That's the thing,
Beautiful voice.
I think that's why we get on, is that in a weird way, and it's a lot of what we're doing at Amped, is like those giants are still, well, not all of them, very few of them are walking among us, sort of largely ignored. There's so much music still to get out of them. They so you can call them up, go work with them. It's such a privilege.
You know, there's this very strange thing about, I think, the music industry, where I think a lot of time the older generation of musician are never they don't shine a light on them, which I find very strange.
So
It's
weird as well.
extremely, yeah, it's very strange. Especially if they've paved the way and contributed such an incredible amount of their lives to, like, because we are enjoying a lot of benefits from the incredible hard work
Hundreds.
of the great musicians that came before us,
Hmm.
And I find it very weird that, yes, of course, everybody comes and go. People have the time in the limelight, but they should be given equal chance when it comes to light. Be it radio play or music video plays or media. And that's just for me doesn't sit well with me. I don't know. It's I don't know if I'll decide to. I was actually looking at um like the catalog of Brahu and Oliver Mtukudzi and some of my favorite writers and Bob Dylan yesterday. And they recorded
Hmm.
albums every year. every second year, every year. And they, by the time they passed on, they had like 30, 40, 60 albums sometimes, you know. And that's what they loved, you know. And my wish is that every living legend amongst us should always be given the flowers while they can still smell them.
Touche to Sorry, that was the whiskey talking. Touche to that. No, agree.
You know.
I mean, I've got this little. Maybe you'll help me with this. We can talk about this secretly. I've got this dream of doing a album next year. It was going to be 2020, but 2020 doesn't exist anymore. So
No, I've
2021.
canceled this year as well. No, it's done.
Yeah, but I want to do a. Do you know? I mean, you must. Did you ever see what Rick Rubin did with Johnny Cash?
No, I haven't. But I love Rick Rubin work and Johnny Cash, the movie too.
Right. So
And
so
Johnny
Rick
and
Rubin kind of at the time when Johnny Cash was sort of considered old and nobody gave a crap about him anymore. Rick Rubin did an album with him. And the first album, I did three with him, I think. He got him to do covers of very contemporary songs. One of
oh
the
wow,
greatest songs you've ever heard, with the greatest music video ever made, because I cry every time I watch that, is Johnny
no way.
Cash doing an acoustic cover of Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails' Hurt. You may have heard it.
Yes, I know the song.
Hurt. Have you heard Johnny Cash's version?
No, I haven't.
It's the greatest song you've ever heard. Is Johnny Cash doing Trent Reznor's
Wow.
Hurt? It's power, and it really. He did a few projects like that, and it made me realize what a producer, the role a producer can play in working with these old legends and actually doing contemporary albums with them. And I think that's what I want to do in 2021 is produce an album with all our legends, not South Africa, African legends, in a cool new way that makes it like accessible and collaborative and fun. Because again, just to your Hugh Masekela rapping on your album or Vusi Maklasela rock starring it up on ours, there is so much music in those guys that is I mean Caiaphas, can you imagine getting Caiaphas onto a track? I mean it's probably impossible. But that guy tears up anything he touches, you know?
Highly impossible, but he is amazing, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's something that I take very close to my heart. Appreciating the work of the incredible generational musicians that came before us. I take that very, very deeply, man. It's they have
Well,
to
that comes
know.
out, yeah. That comes out in your
They have
music
to
and on
know.
that.
They have to know. They really
Mm.
have to know. It's very important. Believe it's very important to thank. I call them the gods of African music because they've created so many things, so many paths for us, and we came when a lot of the foundation were laid already. You know,
Mm.
and we building from there and laying more foundation for the future kids. You know, to come.
I mean, I think you do that on. I mean, your Zwaka. By the your album Zwaka is fucking crazy good. I mean, but everything you've done, with maybe the exception of the first album, which was really just like Tresor's journey, it was your own thing. Has every piece of music you've done feels like, as you've just said, a tribute, a very graceful, respectful tribute to everything that has come before you. You take it all with you, and actually, I think Swakwala is sort of an extension of nostalgia. I can see, oh, this is how it all goes. This is the path you're on. It's quite amazing. You pick up all the pieces as you go, and you keep building on top of it, building on top of it. It's very interesting to watch and hear.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think more than anything, it's always, you know, I think for me an honor to be able to, you know, somehow pay respect and tribute through the music. I mean, I was very nervous, I think, with the particular songs Wakala, because this was like my first ever sample, if I may say, like that part, the Wakala part, which is like chorus part of the new song. I
Mm.
had to like ask Ray Perry's daughter, Nonku. I'm like, yo, listen. I've done this and I don't want to put it out before you hear it. She's a very good friend and she loves it. She's like, if there was a song I could ever cover of my dad, that would be that one. Um,
Wow.
and I think for me, music is it's a powerful thing, man. And I love to keep it there. I love to keep its power intact and making sure it stays pure and honest, and also a really great bridge between generations. And I believe it's very important. It's very important, because basically what we're doing, we're just carrying on the legacy of the past generation and passing it on, and hope to be able to help breed a kind of artists that be able gonna do that. And because at the end of the day, that's our culture, that's who we are, that's our story, it's our sonic story, and we have to carry it for generations to come, and if we we just live it and starting to sound like um a whole different culture, then we're really losing ourselves, so yeah.
Super cool. Um, this might sound like a really weird question, and it would be if it was anyone else. I hate those questions. When people say like, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?" Now, the reason I'm asking you this is this, and that is, I know that you have got a lot of business ventures on the go. I also don't know what you're comfortable talking about and not talking about, and what's confidential and not. So I'm not mentioning anything. What I know, what I know is you have got a game plan in a way that I've never known anyone. And so I ask you this question not as a sort of cheesy where do you see yourself in 5 years time, that type of question, but the empire that you're building. What does it look like in 5 years time or 10 years time?
Thank you, John. I think music has been and is always going to be a great fire starter for everything, which I love very much. But knowing how, of course, how the music works, um, it's a beautiful thing that I really love to do. But also requires a lot of time and energy and a lot of focus and a lot of. I mean, I've been writing for 48 hours, been working on one song, and I think the aim has always been to diversify, doing a whole bunch of other things. And so I'm venturing into a lot of other businesses. I can't say much, but it's I'm hoping to really build um, a business empire with interest in a lot of things, namely technology, property that include like um, farming and stuff, um, and and hopefully get into like the food and beverages business. Um, and I'm still trying to figure out a few things, trying to get all my things right. But of course, naturally, I'm already in the media business, the entertainment business. So that's a very natural thing. I don't even think that's starting. I'm just expanding into that. But I'm getting the right partners for every other venture that I'm getting into. Um, but in the world today, I think it's very important, um, as a young creative, to be able to find ways to not just empower myself, but also to be able to uplift my community to my project. And I believe all those areas I just mentioned will be able to help me achieve that, and also helping me achieve my own vision.
Because I follow you on Instagram, I know you're overseas a lot, but you're not gigging. You're kind of networking. What are you doing over there? What kind of things?
It's like they're not giving, you
Well,
know,
I know you might be gigging, but I know you're up to. I see you and I go, he's up to something. He's going to
yeah,
see someone and do something.
you
I
know,
know you met Charlize Theron recently, ish, or something. Or I
yeah,
don't know. What are
yeah.
you doing out there? I want to come on a trip with you, just just to see what you're up to. I got to study your moves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Johnny, I'm a very patient guy, man. Patient in a sense. I don't sleep on things. I just really love to do every single thing that I do, like with the right intention and do them really right. It has to be done like perfectly, you know. And that's what pretty much what's been happening overseas. I mean, I have a lot of great connections happening there. A lot of doors have opened. A lot of business and music business talks and opportunities. And last time I was in New York, I was in New York with Lorna Scott and a very exciting South African gene that I'm going to be working with. But um, other than that, there's a lot of exciting ventures, man. Really exciting ventures, and I'm feel like I'm right at the tip of it. You know, it has taken me a couple like the last 2 years, 3 years, just going back and forth. You know, I have to understand. I love the continent. You know, and I feel like sometimes um, a lot of the businesses in our industry and other part of ventures I want to go in, I've had to like take a leap of faith and meet certain people in certain areas and get to understand people's mind and get to forge different relationships with people. Because at the end of the day, um, I'm trying to build something bigger than myself, you know. And the only way is to be able to work with the people that have traveled that journey. And there's a lot of exciting things that's gonna happen. And I feel like it's gonna things gonna start revealing themselves. I think
You're so
soon,
cagey. I
soon
can.
enough.
You're speaking in code now. I'm like, I don't know what
You
you're talking
know,
about anymore.
yeah.
There's so much you're not saying.
I'm saying so much. If you can
You're
hear
saying,
between the
yeah,
lines,
you're saying a lot, but you're also you're 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 like walking a little tightrope.
you know, yeah. I mean, it's I think in essence, what I'm trying to say is,
Watch this space, motherfuckers.
what's the space? Yes, but also like I'm excited. I'm really excited to be able to like create and build and innovate and venture in different avenues outside of entertainment industry, but also still be a great creative. And because man, music industry is very consuming, bro. It's really is crazy. It's I mean, I can speak about it from the experience. John, I'm releasing my fourth album in 5 years. Fourth album. So you must understand the amount of work, how much I work every year, you know. And the truth is, let nobody lie to you. I don't think there's a lot of like in South Africa any kind of wealth when it comes to musicians where you can be able to be comfortable on your own for like years without doing the work, you know. And I'm trying to get that comfortable for myself, for my family, for the communities, for the people. I want to be able to uplift cities and where I come from and where people that have helped me in Durban, you know, to be able to, whether through schools or just different kind of programs, you know. And I mean, music is a great fire start. I mean, it's a great door, like doors of opportunity. It opens a lot of doors of opportunities. Um, um, but I believe
But
there's
you
so
need
much
to
great.
expand the empire to make it
Yeah,
sustainable.
I mean, there's so much greatness to still be done, man. Like so much, and I'm excited because I believe I see it, I feel it, and I'm working on it, and I'm diving deep in it. You know, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Why don't we leave it there?
Yeah.
Tre,
Cheers.
lovely having you on. Lovely to hear you speak. Great to see you. And we'll chat again pretty soon actually.
Thank you, brother. We chat soon. Yes. Yes, correct.
Thank you for being here, man. Thank you.
Thank
It's an
you.
honor to know
Okay.
you and watch you work.
Thank you, brother. Bless.